welcome to this School of Tao episode. This part is focused entirely on unblocking subconscious and limiting beliefs, this kind of tangly field, complex area of the subconscious mind that influences and affects all of how we manifest. So it's about really coming into close face-to-face contact and awareness and attentive awareness with anything that we believe to be true and anything that we hold in our subconscious as being true and possible for us. So there's lots of reprogramming work to do, and it is a labour, but it doesn't have to be a terrible labour. It's really about being witness to your own unfoldment and your journey, and really allowing your emotions, energy in motion to flow through your body without any judgment, because it's really the judgment, it's the judging mind that creates the negative feeling on top of the emotion that's already there, that creates this can create this spiraling into like deeper, bigger, snowballing, inflated emotion that feels difficult to house in the body, and even difficult to process and remove emotional attachment from, because really whilst we're attached emotionally to memories from the past, they play out, they repattern through our lives, they act out kind of on our behalf, they exist as parts of our consciousness, and until we integrate them back into our being, until we really absorb them in love and with our conscious attention, with this beautiful light of our attention, then they don't go anywhere and they energetically dance and manifest for us ahead of us. So this is the work, the subconscious repatterning. It's really, first of all, about paying attention. I heard this very early on in my journey, and I never let it go, this word attention. It really is just like attention. It's like paying attention to everything that you experience with this non-judgmentality. And I think as soon as we strip away the judgment, we take out the story, we take out the narrative, and we really just be with the experience, with the sensation without the story. Like, what does that sensation, what do those sensations feel like that are perhaps creating an avoidant behavior, or they're creating procrastination, or they're creating impulsive behavior that's not grounded, or it's not natural, it's kind of forceful, or it's got an agenda, it's trying to get something from somebody, and it's not so natural and magnetic or organic. So the subconscious work is really the deep dive work. Our subconscious is 95% of our mind. It's a huge proportion, isn't it? So until things that are latent, they're really like the things that are embedded. They're the beliefs, they're the things and convictions, the faiths and convictions we have in things, the things that we believe in being true. And this is really the fabric that forms our reality, because everything that we believe to be true becomes true because we serve or act to substantiate that belief, and we self-fulfill prophecies. So it's about identifying what we believe, why we believe it, where that belief comes from, and then reorganizing or opening really to receive the truth of the light of the soul. So we're really talking about the egoic mind versus the like soul light information streaming into your mind as beautiful receiver and organizer of this beautiful light. And the egoic mind, it's rational, it's kind of forceful, willful. It often makes decisions based on this idea of this sense of safety, as if following your soul light isn't safe. So the rational mind will try to make sense of what will happen when, so it takes you out of the present now. Whereas the soul is like, it's peaceful, it's knowing, it's definite, it's very clear, it's like crystal clarity. But the egoic mind is linear. It's like, when I do this plus this, it will equal this. It's like anticipatory, or it's impatient, it's hasty, it's agendered, it's trying to be very rational about something that is very abstract and quantum and actually emotional, because we're manifesting out of our feelings. So it's really about being this attentive, becoming this attentive observer of your life and what you're attracting and what you're going through, and how does that feel, and what does the very thought of doing something, what does that create in you, what feelings are generated, because this will often give you insight into a belief about something that you believe will happen when you go into something that the egoic mind is trying to say, oh, it's not safe for you to go there. It wants to keep you in like comfort, and it's kind of protector. It's like a protector for you, but it's not protecting you in a positive way, because it's protecting you from going into your bigness and expanse. It's the expanse of the unknown, and the egoic mind freaks out about this because it's unknown. But you know, when we're in the expanse of the unknown, it's really about knowing that we're safe in our light. It's about being in the heart space that really creates this safety, because we hold ourselves in our own light. And it's about really building, or you know, reclaiming or remembering the trust in the light of the soul that is working through our body when we allow it. And so whenever we're in the creative expanse, we're going to be fine, because we've got all these wisdoms, we've got all this knowledge, we've got all this instinctive wisdom that like unfolds out of us whenever a situation demands it, right? Like I'm sure you've been through things where you're like, wow, I didn't know that was right there on the surface, but it comes out whenever a situation calls for it. They have this very beautiful Tibetan philosophy and sound seed syllable that is da, and this really is the sound of that. It's the just doing it. This is when you're not in the mind at all. You know, your gifts are just unfolding and you're like, wow, I can do that. Because the mind has no chance to interfere, and you're just doing, you're just being, and you're just present in the moment, and with all of that innate wisdom and knowledge and excellence that you have, you know, in your very unique way. And as soon as you're in the present moment and you're just doing it, the mind can't interfere, because you're doing, you're already doing, and there's no chance to think about what's going to happen, because you're in it, doing it, and very, very present and in your body, and also present with your soul that's just streaming through you. So in order to go into the subconscious mind, we really have to be very relaxed. The nervous system has to be relaxed. So there are a number of really practical ways to do this, like lying down. If ever you feel overstimulated, just stopping what you're doing, just pause and just be and exist. And when you lie down, you immediately restore this sense of balance and ease to the nervous system, because it starts to, you know, take on that of like when you lie down and go to sleep. So this is a beautiful way to immediately relax if you are feeling overstimulated or overwhelmed, because actually the soul light through your body, it does not know of overwhelm. This is the rational mind that's saying, oh, I can't cope with this, or I don't know what's going on, or it's all so new, or it's all too much. You know, it's all these stories. But actually the soul light is just like infinitely wise and knowing and clear and capable, and knows that we can hold so much. We're so capable of holding so much. And as soon as we take that story out of like, it's difficult to hold so much, or, you know, all of these stories that we might say, because the fact is we can hold a lot of our light. And a large aspect of reprogramming is really like catching the stories that we say, and like bringing the real story, which is I can hold a lot, you know, like my soul light is infinitely wise. My body is an open vessel to receive my soul and to radiate this out. And the soul is not shy, it's unapologetic, it wants you to shine, to allow the light of your soul to shine through your body, and to be an unobstructed, clear flow for that light to come through without any resistance. So this is why we do the subconscious work. It's the incentive, because then you can become the clear river flowing that you are without any resistance. You know, you kind of want just the water to just... and you don't want to put any big boulders on your path that don't need to be there, or you want to move them out of the way. So relaxing the body, relaxing the nervous system, bathing in water is a beautiful way to recalibrate your body, because water holds the highest frequency besides light. So when we bathe in water, when we go to the ocean, when we get in the rivers, or when we take a bath or a shower, you can ask the water to cleanse you and to recalibrate you, and it will entrain you with that frequency. So yes, lying down, water bathing, meditating, you know, really just, this is the most beautiful practice for paying attention. It's not that you have to have the quietest mind, or that you're doing it wrong. There is no right or wrong. It's just an attentive practice. It's about dropping into the body. It's about becoming aware of your thoughts even. And it's about quietening the rational mind so that you can receive the light of your soul wisdom, so that it can stream in. So a very beautiful way to do this is to distract the mind somehow, to give it a focal point. Like I noticed when I had my washing machine on when I was meditating, that was a really interesting focal point. just to listen to that sound. But it might be that you tune into the sounds in nature that are outside. You have your windows open, or you meditate outside somewhere really beautiful and peaceful. But just something that takes you out of the thinking, agendaed, rational mind of like A plus B equals C, or like worry, or this is going to happen when. Which is all taking you out of your light and out of your body, really. Yoga Nidra is also a superbly useful tool. I have a Yoga Nidra recorded on my Tao of Tantra podcast on Spotify, and it will take you into a beautiful hypnagogic state. You can do it just before sleep, or just any time that you feel overly stimulated or overwhelmed. And you can use it to set an intention to receive revelations about anything that's latent in your subconscious mind that you would like to be more conscious of. And then it takes you into a deep relaxation, so you can start to receive or see or feel or vision those things that might be blocking your path of light. So it's a gorgeous practice. You can do it any time of the day, really, but I love to do it just before sleep because it really takes me on these beautifully insightful journeys as I travel the cosmos safely in the sleep time. Pain patterns is another way to identify how we are blocked. So as you're going through life, you might notice that you'll have all these different experiences, but there will be certain patterns that show up in your life. These patterns of pain, or they create negative experiences, or rather they create results that you didn't intend and that you didn't desire. This is your energetic signature. These are your pain parts that are playing out and manifesting for you ahead of your desire and overriding your desire. So this is why we want to unblock these. So noticing any patterns, becoming this attentive, non-judgmental observer of your life, you can start to see what you're attracting with. What energies am I syncing in with? Because you can change your energetic point of attraction quite quickly when you start cultivating your body in this way and paying attention. It's like, oh, I'm angry. How can I release that anger, like in a safe space for my body? Oh, I'm attracting with frustration, or I'm attracting with impatience, or, you know, whatever energies you're attracting with disappointment, or you might be attracting with excitement and bliss and people in their purpose, or, you know, what are you attracting with? Start to become a really, really acute observer, because then you can start to see what you're calling in and seeing your own point of attraction where you are. And also noticing these patterns in your life. So you want to notice your purpose patterns. So where people keep on saying, oh, you're great at that, or that was really useful, or where you feel really alive and animated and in your power. But you also want to observe any negative patterns, the patterns that are taking you into places where you're like, oh gosh, that is inhibiting and contracting. That is creating pain again. And perhaps you felt a very similar feeling before, and it feels like a bit of a looping. So these are the pain patterns that we want to remove the obstruction from, and we want to get to the root of the bottom of what's at that pain pattern. So you want to also kind of reverse mechanics it and be like, what is the belief? What is the belief that I uphold that is behind my experience of that? It might be that I believe that all men are like this, or all people in a certain country are, or all my experience in the country are like this, or when I go here, or when I do this, this happens, you know, and it can be so intricate and so wide-reaching. And what we want to do is bring these beliefs into the truth of what's possible, rather than what's possible based on what's happened before. And, you know, until that obstruction is removed, then the patterns in your life repeat and repeat and occur, and they create pain that seems to actually get larger, because the universe wants you to evolve and expand with your soul. So the universe will bring you tests and experiences and relationships that you can heal from, that you can expand through, and it's really always about coming into alignment with your values. So whatever you're going through, see if you can come closer back towards alignment with your values, which is alignment with your soul. And see, what do I need to strip away, or what do I need to say no to, so that I can more closely align with my values? Because this is very much connected with how you experience abundance and beauty and magic. And the least friction you'll meet with, you know, you'll meet with challenge, because expansion always means challenge, really, doesn't it? Because you're stepping into new aspects of your being, or they're unfolding through you and you're passing through thresholds. But you know, you don't want to meet with like closed doors and like friction and pain and pain. And so identify the beliefs that are behind any experiences that you're going through on a repeat, and see if you can get radically honest about what they are. because only then can you open into them being repatterned, and the repatterning happens in the very awareness. So as soon as you open to be honest about the belief, then you can start to open to the new belief taking its place, and that belief like changing in your system. You'll feel it start to change, but it's just like, I allow that, you know, I notice that, and I release emotional attachment from any memories that are stored in my body, you know, that are creating that pattern again and again. And it can be very powerful. What I always do is I invite my body, I ask my body to release anything that it's holding. I create a safe space, I hold space for myself, and I ask my body to release anything, any memories, any beliefs that it's holding that are not serving my highest good. And I ask for it to be released from every cell of my body and from every particle of my energy field, with deep appreciation for all of the messages that it brought. Because, you know, what's really magical in many ways is that the emotional and the physical, the emotional, spiritual and the physical are all the same thing, really. You know, if there's any emotional or spiritual blockage, then this manifests in the physical body, and the other way around. As soon as we heal it in the physical body, we're healing it emotionally and spiritually too, which is so gorgeous. Really, I mean, it's a work, it's a deep dive for sure, and an excavation, but when you make that space and you liberate and you feel that expansion, it's glorious. So it's worth it. So yes, releasing it, inviting that release from every cell of your body, every particle from your energy field, and also, you know, noticing where it's shown up in your body. So you can also say, I restore the right energy flow to whatever part of the body was affected, and holding that memory like, thank you body, thank you part of that body, part of my body, for giving me that message. I understand the message, and now I open to release that memory and emotional attachment. And you can combine that with emotional freedom tapping, which is an amazing tool. Like, it really soothes the nervous system. It helps release the emotional attachment. So if ever you're in a strong emotion, you can tap on these specific points. And I will do a deeper recording on EFT tapping, but just so you know the points. So it's so if ever you're in the feeling and you're just speaking, I want to release this emotional attachment, and or even not speak it, but just be in the emotion and release the emotional attachment to it. That's the intention. You can tap on these points. So you can tap on these points, the karate chop on your hand, the top of your head, and you want to do like a minimum of 7 taps. And so the top of your head, the points on your eyebrows, your temples, beneath your eyes, this point above your upper lip, your lower lip, this point, and you'll feel the point, you know, it will just feel right, this point by your collarbones, and then just about 4 inches underneath your armpits. And then you can do that cycle as many times, saying, I release emotional attachment to the memories of, if you can identify it, and if not, just do it in the emotion, and ask to restore the right energy flow, and then ask your body to release that. Yeah, over and over from every cell and every particle of your energy field until it's gone. And you will start to feel the emotions rise through your body. Like, it's not a terribly comfortable process to release, because the emotions that have been held in your body as physical symptoms start to come out, and it can be very interesting to be witness to some of the considered uglier emotions. Like, when I've released some of my anger, I've been like, oh my goddess, like, I've been quite shocked by how much anger's come out, and I've just had to hold space for that anger, like, just be witness to it, like, without any judgment. I'm just like, wow, that was in my body. And then, you know, however long it takes to leave, and sometimes you have to, you know, tap daily, or you have to go to wild areas in nature and just ask the earth to support you in this release process. And, you know, depending on how deep and depending on how long you've been holding it, it will depend how long the release, or how often you need to tap, or how often you need to bathe in water, you know, to be restored, to be cleansed, to expand. So when you find your pain pattern, it can be a very beautiful thing just to, like, think about any words that you associate with that pain. So for me, it was like a sense of abandonment. It felt like the carpet was being pulled from underneath my feet. It was desertion. It was, you know, quite lonely. And then it made me always fear that stability that came was going to be taken. So I had to do deep work around this. But when you find and you journal around this pain pattern, this word, or these words or statements or phrases, be as exhaustive as you like, then find the polarity opposite, the polarized opposite of that. So what is the antonym of that pain pattern? So, if I've got desertion over here, like it's reclamation, and it's retrieval, it's like bringing back in, it's like this sense of remembering also as well, but like embracing, and it's love and it's safety and it's secure. So find the opposite of your pain pattern, and you'll start to get insight into really actually your purpose, because so much of our purpose is born out of our pain. It's like we have to go through these painful experiences in order to come into this deeper sense of our humanity, and to embody the wisdoms that we embody when we go through certain experiences that we never would understand really in the way that we do until we go through it. It's like, whilst that was really unpleasant to go through, now I understand how to heal it. I understand the wisdom that comes through it. And it really is like an initiation. Pain is an initiation into deeper aspects of our humanity. I really believe that. And it opens the heart, even though it's really, really can be really hard to hold those feelings of grief or loss in the body. Then comes the quaking, then comes the breaking open, the expansion, the pour out of all of this stuff actually that you've been holding. It's like, wow, that pain actually is like a window. It's like a portal. It opens me up, it opens my heart wider, and it brings me into this place of deep compassion. So finding the purpose, finding the antonym, finding the opposite, and seeing how that connects with your purpose. Like, what wisdoms have you embodied through those pain patterns that are a part of your purpose, and how you're here to serve through your love and your heart and your embodied wisdom. Because we really embody and educate the body by experience. This is really the only way that we learn, right? For sure, people activate us and unlock certain things in us, but actually, you are your own teacher. Everybody is always their own teacher. And really, we just have support from other people to come into this higher becoming. And really, the work that we all do is kind of individual, but, we're healing one another and supporting one another. It's pretty magical, isn't it? Really. And opening into the field. So when you just open, if you have no idea what's causing these repeat patterns in your life, you've got no idea what the subconscious blocks are, but you feel blocked, just opening into the field. Say, universe, greater universe, I open to know what is the latent belief that's causing whatever experience. I open into the field of solutions to unblock. For my highest good, for the highest good of the collective. And then just watch and notice as you start to receive insights. It might be a practice that you're drawn to, a person that you're intuitively called to call. Who knows what it is? It might be a specific location that you need to go to, and that part of the land is going to activate you. You just don't know. But try to tune in intuitively and really be in your body and feel the feelings, respond to the intuitive impulses. It might be to read a certain something. And follow that guidance, because this will always help you to unblock and receive insight into your subconscious world. It's also really powerful to write. So whatever you're wishing to manifest, you can write, what I wish to call in or what I wish to create in my life is, but the feeling connected with that is. And this will give you insight into the block, because you will be manifesting out of the feeling, the associated feeling, because this feeling, these feelings, these sensations are showing you the blockage if it's a negative feeling. I don't mean that there's a right or wrong feeling. I just mean if it's contracting in the body or it feels negative, it just feels more difficult to house than a feeling that's, kind of blissful. So you never want to have any judgment, but it's just, what you want to do is more and more make these decisions that bring you into places of bliss and ecstasy and excitement and passion. And the more you do that, the more you amplify this in your field, And I think the last thing I'll say about repatterning and unblocking subconscious limiting beliefs is just a short introduction to parts of our consciousness field. So trauma is a wound that is averted from. It's a wound that we fail to look at. It's a pain that's happened, and in order to find some sort of comfort or solace, because we weren't able to resolve it in the moment, we kind of close it off and we create this part of our consciousness field that creates a distance from it. So when we create this distance, it doesn't go, but it sort of stays in this container, and it's there energetically, but it's not so close to our conscious awareness so we can function. It's a protector, it's a protection. But every time something painful happens and it's not resolved, these parts are created. And all of these parts exist still and always until they're reintegrated, what's called reintegration. And that means bringing any and all of those parts back in love, because until we do that, we'll start to see that part reflected back in our experience of relationships to show us that it exists in our field, right? So when you go through your life, start to notice what you're seeing reflected back, through your relationships. What are people showing you? Because any places of discordance or like friction or tension, any places that that you're repelled by, will be a part of you that you've rejected or pushed down. And so like if you're seeing, for example, somebody, maybe they're a bit needy, they need constant reassurance, and this is repelling for you. There is a part of you that also feels needy from childhood that needs your reassurance and love in order to release that neediness. In order for them to not need anymore, giving them love will reduce that neediness. So that person that's showing up in your life as being needy is showing you that back as a reflection. So these will also help you to identify any limiting beliefs, because often these parts have beliefs that are trying to keep you safe. They're like, oh, when we did that last time, this is the egoic mind, when we did that last time, that created a shed load of pain. So then what this part wants to do is trying to stop you go through that pain, but actually we can't open for more of our highest expression. It's just not possible without opening for more of it all. And when we can open the heart for this is when we can enter into our expanded state of expression, because we cannot as humans go through the human experience without experiencing pain. And I think when we can come to this place of like the pain opens us, like it can be very destructive, but something is always rebirthed out of that destruction. And I think when I've separated from really deep loves, and it's like it feels like it's breaking me inside, I have found like the deepest love pour out of my heart that I just didn't know existed. And I have had to find the expansion that I felt through the love with a person and through a relationship without that person. And I think it's been the hardest work that I've ever had to do, and the most beautiful as well, because when you come through into that light, when you come through into the knowing of pain is showing you not only your purpose, but it's also opening your heart wider, and it makes you more compassionate and more loving, infinitely loving, and more universally loving, and more loving of humanity. It brings you into a deeper place of your humanity. And I don't think that changes how difficult it feels to go through suffering at all. But somehow it offers some sort of solace, because there is always this beautiful light after devastation. There is always something magical that is born out of like the most difficult experiences. So yes, repatterning, unblocking subconscious beliefs. And when we do this, when you can show up and do this work and pay attention and really be an acute magical observer of your life, compassionate observer, and what you're attracting, and all of these beliefs that you might be holding, then you can start to attract with your most magical life, and your more and more expanded expression on this planet, attracting with more and more experiences that you really actually do wish and know you're here for. This is the important thing. You're here for bigness and greatness at a soul level. You will just feel it with every cell and fibre of your being. You're here for magic. You are. You knew it as a child. You still know it now. And as soon as you do the subconscious work, as soon as you go into the shadows, as soon as you start to see any of these limiting beliefs, any of these stories that are playing out, you know, that are substantiating something for you, that are keeping you in safety and smallness when you are here for largeness. As soon as you do this work, as soon as you do that labour, you will start to see energetic shifts so powerfully, and all of your relationships will change because of the energetic shifts that you make. So doing the shadow work is a trek. It is, but it's one that leads to magic, and it's totally worth showing up to do that work. You know, instead of trying to soothe by distraction or soothe by external gratification, you know, what about coming back to the inside, tuning in, seeing what is creating any patterns that are not aligned actually truly with who you are and your soul mission. So until the next episode of School of Tao, sending you waves of love, and see you soon.